Today's passage is Luke chapter 1, verses 1 to 4. On Monday, the church celebrated the feast of Luke the Evangelist, and today we read the first few verses of his Gospel. Feel free to continue and read the rest as well, of course. It's worth taking a moment to reflect on why we have our four Gospels. Why not just one, a definitive one perhaps, and why not more than four? And given that we do have these four, what's special about Luke? When we read little bits of books, as in the lectionary, it's hard to get a feel for the whole thing. But each of the four evangelists has done a distinctive job in composing their Gospels. They each come at the Jesus event from their own perspective, as it were. Just like with a car crash, it can be useful to have these complementary perspectives. The Gospels are not biographies, nor are they simply historical records. Each of the Gospels was aiming to show Jesus as the Messiah, the Son of God, and to make disciples. And each writer used the material known to him to do that in the best way that he could, collecting, organising, editing, and putting the material together, often thematically rather than chronologically. Luke was the only Gentile writer of the four, so his perspective would be different from a Jewish writer, for example. Luke addresses someone called Theophilus in his introduction. That could have been a Greek convert to Christianity, or, as the name means lover of God, it could just stand for all seekers for God who want to know more about the Christian gospel. At any rate, as a Gentile, Luke writes for other Gentiles and shows how God's mission was a universal one, emphasising this more or in different ways compared to the other Gospels. And of course, Luke went on to write the Acts of the Apostles, his second volume, telling the story of how the church grew and spread from Jerusalem all the way to Rome. He also gives more attention to the role of women among Jesus' followers and among those who received his healing power. And it's even possible that we can detect a professional interest in the diseases which Jesus healed, as you might expect if Luke was, in fact, the doctor companion of Paul on his missionary journeys, which is the traditional theory of who was the author of this gospel. As Luke says in his introduction, there were other Gospels written and circulated in addition to the four which made it into the New Testament. And some of those, or parts of them, have survived to this day. However, when the New Testament was drawn up, the Gospels had to pass various tests of authenticity, and the other Gospels were rejected as later or less authentic, less reliable than our four. In a rather beautiful way, the four living creatures of Ezekiel and of the visions of St. John the Divine in Revelation are traditionally applied to the evangelists, four completely different creatures but united in glorifying God. The man for Matthew, the lion for Mark, the eagle for John. Luke's symbol was the winged ox, recalling the sacrifice of animals in the temple. Perhaps because very early on in Luke we have a scene in the temple when the priest Zechariah, offering sacrifice in the temple, has his own vision and discovers that he is to be the father of John the Baptist. So our four Gospels are like the four living creatures, surrounding the throne of God, giving eternal praise and worship, and singing the song of the angels. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come.